How's everybody doing? It is Friday, August 23rd, 2024. The power had went out, and of course, now the internet's out. I think that happened around 2 o'clock today, this afternoon. I laid down for a little bit, for like an hour and a half. Been sleeping restlessly at night, tossing turning, so I've been getting up like midnight and staying up to like 5 or 6, and then going and napping for about a couple hours and getting back up. I don't know, it's just been really this cycle that's really off. And so when I woke up, I pulled up moved my computer, and I noticed the whatchamacallit, the screen was still on and the internet thing was still on, but the internet was out. I got a message on the phone, and I was like, oh great, the internet's out. And so I go in the bathroom, flip on the light, and there was no power. I was like, oh shoot. And so I just moved the water a little bit so I can get some water on my hair and stuff. And that was such a trip. I even went and I think I know him. Yeah, I know him. He works at the coffee shop. So I figured I'd come down, get out of the house, and I noticed across the street the power was out as well at the restaurant. So I went across the highway, and the coffee shop there, and their power was on, but they told me that their power had just come back on because they had the first time they'd ever had to turn the generator on. I guess they got a big generator. They turned it on to continue business, right? And so anyway, and she had told me that people are coming in saying it's all over the city. It's not just here. It's going out all over the city. So I just drove around. I went to the opposite way of the city to go around this way, and I come to this park. But I know there's some type of fair or some type of event happening down at the park I used to go to at Timberland Park. And so I'm not going on that side of town because it's going to be busy. And plus they got the roads blocked off at the fair and stuff like that. So I come down to Three Lakes Park. It's a small little park with 3 little lakes. But these lakes are, they're kind of like, swampy frog. They're like, in other words, to me, they're like 3 big, huge, giant ponds that have, the algae, even the, like an iPet Go 2 with the, what do you call those things? Lilies that come up out of the water. Lots of dragonflies here. The weather for the last, I want to say the last 2 weeks, I mentioned this in my other video, how odd it's been. It's been cloudy, around 70, the highest probably like 76, 77. It's been the high today. It's 72 degrees, around 3:30 or something like that. Totally odd. I know I can feel it in my legs. My legs like hurting a lot. It's not like it's kind of like a bone level pain. Very interesting. So I haven't walked. I haven't did my daily walk in the last probably 4 days. Yeah, I think it's been at least 4 or 5 days I haven't done a walk. I went to the park. just haven't felt the need. It's so interesting. And then seeing that video yesterday of this lady video in her backyard saying that, they moved there about a year ago. They enjoyed their new house and everything because of all the birds and the wildlife in the backyard and stuff like that. And she said just the last couple of months, the birds just started disappearing, and the squirrels and all the other wildlife and the animals. She goes, and she even took a video, and she goes, look, you can't hear any birds, you can't see any wildlife. She goes, it's all still back here. It's just freaky scary. And I remember noticing that because I buy a bird block. I usually have to, when I go down at the beginning of the month, I just buy like 3 to 4 blocks, right? Because that'll last. It's usually like once a week. It would, they eat it up one a week. Well, this block, the same block, has been up there probably for about a month and a half. And yesterday, or I think it was yesterday, day before yesterday, I seen a squirrel pigging out on it. And I was like, oh, at least there's a squirrel eating it. But no birds around, not at all. And then the squirrel was so interesting. I can tell he's a male squirrel. He had big balls behind him. I was like, oh, well, he's a male. But he was so interested in me. It was so interesting because it was along the fence line. Because at first I kind of startled him, so he stops, right? He's watching. And so I started talking to him, but he's like flipping his tail, and he's looking, and he's kind of reached over to probably, I think from the sound of my voice, trying to see if he can see me through the window and stuff. Very interesting. And then he walks a little bit this way, and he takes off back up the tree. Lots of farm equipment. I don't know. Yeah, I seen a thing. They were reporting that at the DNC that the non-citizen protesters are getting jail time. They're being prosecuted and serving jail time. My goodness, you never hear that. After these last 2 or 3 years, them flooding in and them getting away with everything and no consequences, nothing. Well, isn't that surprising? That now they're holding them accountable, and I guess they have hundreds of protesters being prosecuted. Found that very interesting. It's like, wow, it's kind of like saying the tables are turning on an interesting thing. And then they were talking about, Mr. TRUMP of, or Alex Jones sent out a warning. And then I guess Trump was at the border yesterday or something like that. And there's a hitman after him or something like that. So he had to get out of that place. And then Alex Jones come out and saying that the deep state is planning on how do I say it on this video? What they didn't succeed in the first attempt, they're going to this time, I guess. And I guess he was saying something about before September or before the election, to remove that opponent. I thought to myself, because we are in a very wicked world, and we see who the wicked is. I mean, we totally see who it is, but like I said, the women, they're so, they want a woman in that seat, no matter who she is or what she is. They just want it put in history that there was a woman in there. And it's so crazy with that mindset and that mentality and who she is. That's the thing about it. and know who her puppet handler is, which obviously is Obama, because he's the one who made this whole DNC thing practically about him. I'm revealing your own big, huge portrait like King Charles. And then a subscriber had told me he's acting Pharaoh, and I totally see that. It's like you got the dark side of the Pharaoh, the dark Pharaoh, which is, in my opinion, is Obama and his man-wife for many years. I mean, if we think about it, we can go all the way back to his first term going forward, and the corruption and how they've handled it going forward, and then going into Biden's campaign. He was behind it. It's like his third term, and now he's trying to go for a fourth term. And then seeing the darkness on covering the land is so interesting. And the more interesting thing is like God has given us it right into our face, the darkness coming over the land. And if for those who don't get so sensitive about race, is that he's black and white. So if we look at the yin and yang, you look at Jesus as white, the holy one, right? Upright one. So the upright fish, the God of the sky. And then you have Obama, the one who's black, and then he's pointing down to the soil, the dirt, and he's controlling this gate. Oh, I remember I wanted to share this. They were talking about some woman was doing I think it was on this guy named Benny channel. He talks about Trump all the time, or the supporters. He backs up Trump a lot. She was getting on there. It was so interesting because of her ad and her eyes and the words that it was like this whole, I mean, it was bothering me. I had to cover it and was listening to her, but you can tell it's like some type of a trippy spell that she was invoking or sending out. I know a lot of people won't get it, but it's the words and what they're saying and everything. But anyway, she was saying that to vote for her because there's something. She goes, because when the rainbow goes over, right? So now remember, God, instead of giving us a flood, he gives us a rainbow, the rainbow that's in the shape of a dome, to let us know that he's here at all times, right? So that's God's sign. That's how, remember, the dark mimics the light. So now the dark has taken it and used it for LGBTQ, right? So you got that whole rainbow thing. Well, what else is associated with rainbows is the leprechauns. Now, I'm only going to say the L word one time, so you understand what I'm saying. Because they are, this girl was saying, sorry, I got that kind of mixed up. So the girl was telling people to vote for her because when the rainbow, she's going to bring more rainbows, and when the rainbow goes over, they'll go to the end of the rainbow and they'll just keep filling up the economy with money, right? So if we know that the L creatures are wicked, right, especially hoarding their money, or probably have to sell yourself for that money, and she's pulling it out of it, it's because this is a magical realm, and they've stirred people completely away from it. But then they bring it up to them, with the Harry Potters and all these other warlock movies and stuff. But it's actually happening, but the people aren't going to believe it until they see it, right? I don't know, but she was telling advertising for her to vote for her because, excuse me. Interesting. because there's she's going to be bringing in money for the income. Well, think about it. She's been in there for almost 4 years, and they haven't done anything. They haven't brought any money in. Hasn't lowered anything, right? So it's just kind of interesting how they're using this trickery, right, on the people to get somebody in power. I know people on Facebook go, "Oh, you're just a woman hater. Oh, that's the ridiculous thing ever." Was it wrong? I mean, think about it. Eve tricked Adam from the beginning. Delilah cut Samson's hair off, or part of his hair off, or whatever. Tricked him into that, and then we got all to society. Look how women trick men into having children, and then watch the paternity court. You'll see a lot of women on there going, "I just want child support. I don't want to work for the rest of my life. I just want to have a kid from each father, and they can pay me monthly child support, and I won't have to work at all." It's that mentality. It's all about the money. And then when you think about when someone says, they'll bring you in all the money, or they want the government to fund you, it's so interesting. It's like saying that evil's enticing the people who are without. Look, we'll give you this if you vote for this. But then when you do vote for that and do take that, then you're captured. It's like a trap. And I don't know how to get that across to people. It's like a trap, a snare that is being blinded by putting on dancers, rap groups onto your stage, entertaining them. It's like in the Roman days where they want to just feed and entertain the people, and they'll be happy, right? And it's true. I mean, this one, I think it was Don Lemon, was going around, asking people who they vote for, and this one guy goes, he goes, "Oh, Trump," and he goes, "Well, why him?" He goes, "Because he'll bring back the Super Bowls and the games and everything." So his mindset is all about focusing on what Trump can bring back, and it's the games, it's the entertainment, is to keep them occupied from actually learning what reality and realm that they're in. Like a friend of mine, she put out a post where this lady's doing a demonstration. She's got a container that's darkened with liquid, and then she's got another container in the middle. So they take so it's got your body in the middle container that's a little murky. Then they take sin and they pour sin in top of it, so now it's dirty. And then they take the faith in Christ, and then they pour that mixture in, and it clears up all the blackness in it. So all you have to do is have faith, which I've noticed at the church, it's always about faith. It's not about works. It's not about works. It's about your faith in God. Well, I put a verse out there about James was talking about. It's not just faith. You have to have the works, and it's so interesting because when I was trying to explain that, and my comment to my friend, she's like telling me, she goes, "Well, no, you need to have faith before you can even get works, or for your works to even be done." I go, "No, that's not how it works." I go, "It's like going to college or going to school or going into a class, and all you're relying on is faith of passing this class, faith that your work will get done, when you can't get done unless you do the work, right? You have to actually write the answers. You have to draw it out. You have to solve the equation, solve the parable, solve the numbers, solve what's being written. And then with faith of doing the work, you'll pass the class, right? And just like her and many other mindsets, it's having faith first, and then works later, which is not making sense. And she goes telling me the opposite. and then telling me that, you don't have it. It's all about faith. And I was showing her scripture. She even ignored the scripture that was written in James. What is faith without works? And there was an example that was written in there. What good is it when you have food, right? You see people starving, you have food, and you walk up to them and just say, have faith in God, and continue on your journey while they're still left there having faith, but you have food to nourish them and give them to last them at least a day or two. So their faith is that you come along, and the works would have been for those guys to feed them for the day, right? So faith and works. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that all those that are, faith is good. Yes, you have to have it, but you got to have more than that. And people are, we're in the society where people are just lazy. They don't want to do the work. I mean, they don't even want to go to school. They don't even want to read a book. They don't even want to learn. So perhaps that's the reason why, is that she doesn't want to do the work. She just wants to do the faith. And, I'm not judging her on it, because there's so many like that. My family's like that. They don't do any works, or works on myself, right? So I have faith and works. My works are if I wanted to lose weight or something like that. Just say if I did. I'm not going to. I wouldn't ever do that because I'm not that big. Or quitting smoking. Just say that. To say if I have faith that I can quit smoking. I have faith in God that He'll help me quit smoking. But that's not going to happen unless I actually do the work, the actions, the stopping of it, right? The looking up how to stop it, eating different, taking action, eating different things, or reprogramming myself to do different things. Those who have sexual cravings, program yourself to do different things. Instead of thinking of it all the time, just get rid of all your porn or whatever and don't even look at it. Just throw it all away. And so it's like you're doing the works by getting rid of it, and then you're having faith that you can work through that, and not buy it again, not look at it again. There's dust in the air here. That's why I keep, and plus I keep talking. I've been talking for 22 minutes. Should have a cup of coffee. Oh, that's better. Oh, I'm plugged up. Now I can hear it. I just felt it in my sinuses. That's interesting, because I wasn't feeling like that when I was driving around and coming over here. I must have been sitting here before I started recording for about 15 minutes. That's interesting how that kind of built up. And all of a sudden now I'm congested. I don't know, some weird stuff, not weird stuff, odd stuff. And I know I trimmed my goatee a little bit, but when I was reaching up like this, there's a lot more darker hair coming down here. So I'm going to try to see if there's, more images coming out on my neck in darker form. And let me get ready to go here and see if the power's back on. Internet's back on. I don't know. In trippy times. I think today's the last. Was it today or yesterday? The last day of the DNC. Oh, that's what I was talking about. The Mr. Trump guy. They were talking about if they do remove him, that they're going to blame it on Iran. And then when that does happen, they say that's what's going to kick off the WW3, That's what they're saying. Don't hold me to it. I mean, we'll have to still look at that. I was just telling you what the word is on the street. Because, of course, I have nothing to back that up. But then we got to look at this reality. The clouds have got some really fascinating shapes in them as well. I don't know. We'll see. Today's Friday, so of course it's going to happen on Friday, right? But these things are still working on certain parts of the town. I just think it's kind of interesting. I should get once it comes back up. I should get up online and check out and see who else are having troubles in the world as far as power. Because I don't understand why the power would even go out to the whole city. It doesn't make sense. I mean, there's not like there's any thundering or lightning or anything. But anyway, have a great Friday night.